Hey, I forgot to start the recording, so here you can see what I did so far. um, Man, I thought I had a foolproof system, but then it turned out that no, not so foolproof. So I'm just laying everything in, and probably I think maybe the most important thing I just said was that when you're doing something like with a garden, you have to be a little careful not to make your trees and your greens too weird and exciting, because you need to save those really strong colors for in the flowers. So yeah, I just have to put the sky in, I guess. I was somehow avoiding it, so I'll just do that now. Oh, good night. Everything I pick up that I think is something else turns out to be too white. Wow, the color that's the hardest for me to figure out what is the roof. So you know what we say, when in doubt, just use some purple. So once I have it all covered, I feel more like, okay, now I can actually see what I'm doing. So I can come back and like actually do something, because I have everything here to compare to. Um, and basically, I'm always just trying things. So if I think to myself, well, that just seems too orange, maybe I'll add some pink to it, but now obviously it's still way too bright. So maybe I'll add a little purple to it. And I know it's almost a joke, but I can't make it perfect. So because I made that, I think I made it better, but I need to make everything else better to see if that's going to continue to be better, because without everything else in there, I guess it might be worse, really. Oh, you guys, it was incredible. The peepers yesterday, driving home from school, I could not believe how loud they were.
Janine,
Yeah,
what color did you put over the purple that was under the eaves?
brown.
Okay. And why wouldn't you have just put brown there to begin with?
Um, Golly, I don't know. Um,
Okay.
no, I'm thinking. Surely I have a reason. Um, you know, I don't know. I just does someone know why I wouldn't have done that? No, I guess I have
Well,
to.
you like the way the colors blend when you don't just have one color, and it gets more subtle and varied.
That's it. That's it. And also, I use a prismatic palette. Like, I don't very rarely do I use things that aren't a primary or secondary color.
Mhm.
So like grays and stuff, I do use them, but I don't usually use them first. Um, so now, so far in here, I've used purple, brown, and red,
Uh-huh.
and I'm feeling better about it. And man, does it look good on my computer screen? Much better than it does in front of my face,
So
which is
Janine,
great.
yeah, what color did you use for the darks underneath the plants? Is that a
You know, it was this little piece of something, and I don't know what it is. I think this
Okay.
is this it. Yeah, it's just this, you know, little piece of something.
Okay, is it kind of
It's a really
a
dark
dark,
green. It's almost a black, but it's a green.
it's a green? Okay.
Mhm. And but now I'm just going to add some blue in it too. So like I was saying about it being a bass line, as you can see, I like the bass line in music, not like the bass line for, I don't know, something else. It seems like bass line, not like in baseball, but the bass line in music, if I can kind of hold my bass line and keep the rhythm of the whole thing going, then I can be really kind of crazy with the lights. And yeah, that, I don't know, that color is, that's the color I wanted to use, but it's acting a little, it sort of like feels a little greasy on top there. So maybe it just wouldn't go on top of that really dark green. I think that what that is, I think that's one of the Rembrandts that a few years ago they made a new series where they before the darkest ones had been the 0.3s, and then they made a bunch of ones that were a 0.1. So they made even darker versions of some of the colors they already had. And I'm just guessing that's what that green is. And then for a while they sold a set that was all those dark colors. And but when Leslie and I looked it over, we decided that it would made more sense to we ordered them together and we cut them in half, the ones we really wanted, instead of getting the whole set. Because some of the darks, I mean, they're not really darks. They were dark for the color they were, but they weren't, oops, that's really red. They weren't really dark enough for what we wanted.
Your shoulder is in the way a little bit. Thanks.
Oh, I can't reach it now. Thank you. No, I appreciate it. Surely I could get this figured out someday. What happens is it's like Friday seems so far away, right? Oh, it's such a long time till Friday. And then all of a sudden it's Friday and I sort of haven't even like done anything to figure out how to make this less awkward for me. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, no. Smashed on the floor. Oh no, do I really not have a decent pink? But maybe this will be okay. Now that I dropped it. Nope, that is not okay. See, it's almost like down in here, it's getting a little, like it's almost blocked out. So, all right, so work somewhere else, Janine. So, like for instance, on the barn, if like this is a gray right now, but I just wouldn't use it first. I would always try to ask myself, like, okay, it's a brown or something, but what kind of a brown is it? Is it more of a purpley brown? And sometimes with the dark colors, you don't have a lot of choices. Darks are kind of a problem with pastels, so you don't have a lot of choices for what you're going to use. So that's why sometimes I just end up using like that dark blue or the dark green I used, and I use it everywhere. And this is a gray now on the roof.
And you'd never start with black, would you?
No, I'm pretty sure I can confidently say never. For one thing, the blacks are slightly, they have a little greasy feel. And it's just really hard to make anything go on top of them.
Mhm.
I don't even know. I assume Holbein is still in business. I haven't used their pastels in a really long time. But when I used to do the tractors, a lot of tractors, I bought the Holbein blacks because Holbeins are a little more chalky, and they had different kinds of blacks. They had like a warm black and a cool black, and so I used to use them occasionally
Mhm.
on the black tires. But even then, I hardly used any black.
So you'd
Um,
use it like a really dark blue or green
mhm,
instead?
yeah. Um, One thing my teacher used to have us do all the time is if you thought something was black, you'd have to hold something up that was black next to it and see. I can't really do it over the picture, but and then you could see like how nothing really was black outside.
Mhm.
Um, Even I've done some of that like black paintings of that black pottery, like by Maria. And I hardly used black then either.
Hmm.
So. And if you're painting, like I don't use black when I'm painting either. I mix it. I mix the color with like my darkest red, my darkest blue, and my darkest green. And that's how I make black. And the only people, I mean, obviously I haven't known all the artists in the world, but the artist I studied with that used black, they mainly just used it with yellow to make green,
Oh.
or they used it to make really light grays, but not as a black for a dark. So eventually what you could do is I feel like I would have to spray this to get much more on the flowers, but you can come in and just cut in and make some individual flowers. And like all the lighter colors I have that I haven't, I guess that's not too bad. It seemed like everything seemed gray compared to the bright pinks and all. And this is to do scenes like this is when I would take my like my Sennelier pastels or my Schminkies with me. This was, I haven't been using those as much nearly because I don't usually do things like this anymore. And honestly, I meant to go find them, and then suddenly it was Friday, and then suddenly it was Friday afternoon.
You don't like to do them just because you've done a lot of them and you've moved on to something else, or?
Yeah, that was sort of Janine, the flower garden painter, and then my problem in all of my painting is if I get bored. So if I kind of figure out how to do something, I don't want to do it anymore. Even though like at that time I was selling a lot of flower paintings, right? So no, I don't want to do any more flower paintings. And I think that's about when I got my job at U32. And that's when I said, okay, I don't have to do anything I don't want to do now because I have a real job. And I started painting the tractors with no idea that they would become such a thing.
Janine, I love the way on the barn, on that far right lower corner, how the purple is showing through. No, other side. No, there, right where your finger is. You see how that purple is showing through a little bit?
Yeah, I can make it show through a little more.
No, I love that. That looks so cool.
Thanks. I think
So
that's better though.
apropos of what you just said, Janine,
What?
about when you get bored, you don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
We went to that Van Gogh exhibit that was in Montreal a year or two ago. We
Uh-huh.
just saw it at St. Pete's, and they had some of his quotes, of course, translated. And one of them was, I am always doing what I cannot do yet in order to learn how to do it.
Yep.
And it made me think of you.
Oh, thank you. It does sound like me, actually, not to put myself in there with Van Gogh. But that's just it. You're painting to learn and to learn to see better. And of course, if you don't have a real job, you're painting to make money. Okay. All right. So I can work on this next week if you want me to. Or I can do something else, but you don't have to decide right this minute. It's just, I just piled it on here. But you know, I kind of do have to spray mine about every half hour, at least after about a half an hour in the beginning. Let's see, I can't really, nothing else will kind of work. Okay, does anybody have any questions about this before I switch cameras?
So how, how close to being finished with this do you think you are, Janine? I mean, it's looking really good to me right now.
You know, if I was trying to make money, I would work on it a lot longer. But even without trying to make money, I probably would not be satisfied yet. And like I think I mentioned before, I'm trying to figure out how to finish things or resolve things without just sort of noodling them to death. So I would just try to make all my color relationships better and my value relationships better and my shapes better. And I would probably want to see if I could make some of the flower shapes a little more descriptive instead of all just really super jaggedy. But I can't really answer how much longer it would take me. I would say things like this generally take 3 to 4 hours.
Okay, I'm just amazed how much you got done in half an hour.
Me too.
It slows down, you know, after that.
And
Looks so
isn't
alive,
the
though.
trick, when something looks this gorgeous now, the trick always seems to be how to keep that freshness and beauty without messing it up with detail. That's
Exactly. That's exactly the question that's on my mind these days. I've been working. I don't know if I have I think I might have the most current picture of it, but okay. So are we done with this now? Anybody else have any questions or?
I was just gonna say, I would love to see how you finish it next week.
Okay.
Oh, except I might not be here next week, but you'll tape it.
Ha, that's what
Well,
she
someone
says.
Remind her.
will someone remind you to tape it in case some of us aren't here?
Try to.
Yeah, it's hard. I know. I'm really sorry. You know, I made it so it records automatically, but then it's like, okay, it's going to be recording for so long because it took me 30 minutes just to be sure I was all set up right.
Well, it looks really alive. I mean, it looks
Oh,
very,
thanks. Okay. I just want to unplug my camera because I sure don't want to accidentally pull it off the tripod. I love all my toys. Okay, one more thing. Okay. Okay. So now we'll look at some pictures together of people's paintings. How's that? So I'm going to share my screen. This is, oh, I know why. It's so weird because I know I keep talking about this, but that I have the camera is backwards. So I know the light is coming from this direction, but anyway, it's just very funny. Oh my God. And I'm probably running all over my, oh yeah, I ran right over my pink pastel already. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen. Oops. All right, let's start with Grace's because I've got it right here. How can I make it smaller? Does anyone know? Oh, it's going the wrong way.
yeah.
Oh no, it suddenly got way big. Oh my God. Now it's getting smaller.
It's getting bigger now.
Oh, here we go. Look,
There.
that's about right, right?
Yeah.
Look how great that looks.
That's great.
Really nice.
Look how good her feathers look. Very feathery there.
I love it. Yep.
His eye, a lot of good expression there.
He
You need
looks,
to work on the feet. I know that.
I'll get rid of him. Well, if they weren't so light, you probably wouldn't really have to do very much. You could just make them not quite so light, but
Yeah, they need to be browner. And
he
a
looks so
little more
sad
texture.
though, Grace. Doesn't he look sad, you guys?
Little bit.
No. you
No, I
don't-
think he looks like arrogant.
Oh,
Arrogantly
And
sad.
I think he looks
sadly
really
arrogant.
really interested in what he's seeing. Or she.
hey,
Couldn't
good
tell.
job, Grace. Is this the tail?
Yes,
I just think this is in front of the tail, right? The
yeah,
body. Yeah, so just make the body in front of the tail a little
a
bit
little
more.
more, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. And what's the white line on the tail?
That's, it's a bluish tinge to that, to the middle of the tail, it is.
Maybe,
Like, get rid of it or downplay it?
or make sure it really follows the curve and doesn't look like just such a straight line, or
Okay.
I would downplay it some.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or because you used all this purple, to show the light on feathers, maybe you would use that there too. I don't know.
Okay,
It's really good, Grace.
thanks,
The head is everything beautiful.
thank you.
I think it's like suddenly I don't know how to use my computer. Wait. Okay.
Join the
Oh my
crowd.
God. Now look, everything's so little. I
the
can't even see
heck?
what it is. Just a minute. Grace sent
Ooh.
me so many emails.
This is not mine. This is beautiful.
This is just the, okay, just a minute.
That's not anybody's.
See, it was from you. You just didn't add anything to it.
I had this problem. I was hurrying.
Oh, here's Sarah Albert. Okay, I'll be back to you, Sarah Albert.
I think there was only, so then there was another one that I just started and I sent you that and the photo.
Oh yeah, here.
That's the real photo.
Okay.
Oh, what a cool photo.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah. And so that's just a rough beginning.
That's a really good start.
Mhm.
Now, is that black? Is that actually black?
I don't know if I used black or a really dark
That really dark green, maybe.
blue, I think.
Oh yeah, that's another thing I should have said about black when you asked that question, was that if I'm going to use black, like back on the tractor days, sometimes I would use black and I would use it right before I was going to spray it because it tends to get into the other colors.
Hmm. Now, give me some advice about the fog, how to make it look like fog.
I think it's hard. I mean, in oil painting, I think it's easier in a way because you'd paint kind of what's there without the fog, and then you just sort of layer the fog over the top of it. I don't know. Grace, sorry.
Okay, I'll experiment.
I mean, I know you don't want to really spray it, but that would be another thing, is use more of what's underneath it. And I would use more violet in it, and I would be
Of
sure
course you would.
I would be sure it was drifting, not just a straight line.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it should be possible just to do it and it would just look exactly right just by doing the surface quality. But usually what I've done is something where I do the underneath, either spray it or let the paint dry and then glaze the fog on top.
Okay,
So,
I'll let the pastel dry.
okay, Sarah. Oh, why are things crooked? Okay, just a minute.
Oh, that's neat.
There we go.
There.
Yeah, this looks really good. The colors are amazing. I'm a
Mm.
little confused by this section. Partly because it looks completely, like, I don't know, I thought I can, it just looks disassociated from all of this. And just be sure that your tree trunks really, or your branches really go that way, because usually they actually go the other way. So just double check on that and make sure you kind of, it's like somehow I lost the, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I thought I knew where the line between the water and the land was, but then here I feel like I don't know anymore.
Mhm.
I don't know. Is it something much further away? Or is it on the same line as the birch trees? Sarah? Earth to Sarah. Sarah, if you're talking, you're muted.
Yes, I was talking to you.
Okay.
Uh, um, They're a little bit further back, not too much further. They're almost in the same plane as the birches.
They almost look closer in a weird way because of the
Oh.
color difference. You know, it's so different than everything
Okay.
else. I mean, it's weird that that would be true. But anyway, that's the one area that needs work.
Okay.
Everything else just looks incredible.
The yellow
I-
trees are gorgeous.
Thank
I
you.
have a question. Could it be partly in those evergreens that the lighter green is so linear compared to the leaves that are yellow, that are so blotchy? that they
This, like
call
this
it-
little, the lines here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that could be true, that it's drawing more attention. Yeah, it's
Right.
almost, it's in a different style, isn't it? This is a
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
sophisticated style, and this is a little less sophisticated.
Oh. Hmm.
Mhm.
I did that when I was younger.
Right on the left, you were 6 when you did
God, choke me to death. Ed.
it. That's great, Sarah.
All right, so we want to see it after you work on here some more.
Okay.
Take a
All right.
harder look at the real picture, I'd say.
Okay.
All
Can
righty.
I just, I
Oh.
wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, sure, just a minute. Oh no, where'd it go? Oh, so many things. Okay, well, look, I have my messages open in case somebody wanted to message me something, but that's not moving. Okay, where did it go? I don't know. Okay, can you ask a question sideways?
Well, I guess I was I've got my head.
Oh, here we
turned.
go.
There we
Okay.
go.
There
All
it
right.
is.
So I see in front of those birch trees. In front of the birch trees, there seems to be a lot of ground.
Yeah.
Okay, but I don't see anything in front of the evergreens.
Yes,
Well,
that's,
Yeah, it's sort of, it's in the dark area there. It just sort of fades into shadow under the evergreens.
So
But-
that I think is a problem, because it just looks
Okay.
like the evergreen and then the shadow, but that there's nothing in
Yeah.
front of it.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. There's a disconnect there.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you were younger.
yeah.
I mean, you know, Sarah, if you just hold up your hand and cover up the pine tree section, like just as if it wasn't in the picture.
Ooh, I could crop it.
Well, there is that, of course. Let me just see if I can make something move here. Just a second. Hang on a second.
Okay.
I was just trying
I
to see
could
if I
just
could do
crop
it
it up.
on this. But anyway, you guys can just hold up your hand and see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't figure
Yeah,
out a way to
much
make
better
it.
without those. You're
Yeah,
right.
a lot better.
Okay.
Even if they were darker and grayer to make them not jump up so much.
Right. They're too, the green is too bright. I agree with you. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Next
Yeah,
week.
but really good job.
All right.
Excellent.
one other thing, Sarah. You
Yes.
know, when the pine trees, the birches, you can see all the wood, the bark. And there's
Right.
nothing at the bottom. Maybe that's what someone else was saying, that you can't see the bottom of the pine trees and where the
Right.
ground is. So maybe something like that would help it. The colors are phenomenal.
from here over.
Okay,
The birch trees are great.
Yeah, they are. They're really good. And whoops. Oh my
that's okay.
holy cannoli. Okay, here we go. All right.
Ooh.
Okay.
Whoa.
So the one on the right is Jane's. The top left is Jane's photo she's working from. And the bottom left is the one where I just added more of those pink flowers.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
So I just thought maybe you might think about that, Jane, as
Wow, what a
So-
good idea.
And you can do that. Wow.
I did it with Photoshop.
Yeah.
So you said you didn't have a chance to work on it. So what I would say is all this is really pretty,
Yeah, it is.
but I think you need more of an underneath, like
Yes.
a mass, like either a mass of the blue and then you're going to pick out, or I know I just said you can't, or you know, you have to wiggle the dark greens around those little blues and
Yeah, yeah.
whites. But if you're going to put any more pink flowers in, now is the time.
Can you send me the picture you photoshopped?
I will.
That's cool.
Okay, yeah, none of this
Oh,
is
yeah.
done. What I tried to do was to follow your example and lay in sort of the basic shapes. And then I was going to work into it, but I should have put more green down first before going with the dots.
Well, or
True.
maybe more of a blue.
Okay.
And I mean, I did mention that thing about how it's hard to put the flowers on top of the green. So it probably is better to start with sort of a blue thingy, a blue business going on, and then come in with little dots of green and little dots of the colors.
You think like the lavenderish blue or this kind of blue?
I would go with periwinkle blue. No, just different shades of blue, right? Just something that gives you a sort of an average base kind of color.
Okay.
And I think I sent everybody the link to that other kind of paper that I use also, which is what I'm using right now. So that does make life easier. Okay, this is Linda's.
Nice.
Cool.
Oh,
Really pretty.
Yeah, it
Nice.
is.
She doesn't have a Y in her name.
She done? Oh,
No,
okay. Does she have an I?
she does.
Okay. Sorry, I thought it was more artsy than that. Linda, if you're speaking, we can't hear you.
Okay,
Okay,
Now?
good.
Yeah.
no, okay.
Did you have something to say? Or
No,
oh, okay.
your picture looks a little hazier. Is that the way I sent the photo to you? My picture is very bright. This is not very bright.
I think I used it straight from the JPEG, but
Okay,
I don't think I did anything else. But you're right. When I look at the tape, I realize it can't really be accurate, right? Because the tape doesn't look like that.
I mean, I have it, it's a very bright picture.
Mhm.
And I used my camera instead of my cell phone this time.
Hmm.
So
Well,
somewhere the color got lost.
yeah, I can't look for it right now, but I can
Oh,
see
that's
if,
all right.
because maybe, but I'm pretty sure I downloaded it and then I had to crop it and all that stuff, but I thought it looked really good. It's kind of, this is sort of a weird thing, but sort of this line right here,
Okay,
and this here, it's like right at first, I can't tell this line is connected to the roof.
yeah, it's a post.
Yeah, this
for the
post.
overhang, yeah,
So I don't know what to do about that, except maybe lie a little bit and make the color a little more the same and be sure it really feels like it goes down into the grass and then the grass comes over it.
okay.
And this is also really, I think this line isn't quite straight.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Sorry, I touched it. So I might do something about that, but I
Okay.
think it's beautiful. And
That
oh, and
tree
the
is
other,
still there.
The other
This-
thing I might do is see this color of blue here,
Yeah,
right in here, that should be this color of blue. I mean, this color of blue.
okay.
It's like that white goes up a little too high right in there.
Mhm.
And you have to be careful, like right here, this looks like a thing. So what you have to do is after you do that, just mess up the leaves of the line a little bit so that that goes back.
Okay.
Same problem here, this and this. Oh, you know what it is? I bet there's still, I mean, that's the problem. When stuff is surrounded by a darker color, it'll look brighter than like it does over here.
Mhm.
So you kind of have, sometimes you have to tone it down, actually, not make it exactly the same. So just in here and here, everything else in the trees looks really good.
Okay,
Mhm.
Yeah, nice job.
thank you.
Is this one brighter too?
Yeah.
Hmm.
This is the one where I left, well, the second ground from the white is just watercolor, not
Mhm.
pastel. The very soft green and blue,
Oh,
yeah,
uh-huh.
that area is just watercolor.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
And the flowers in front are pastel, and the pinkish brown and back are the pastel. But
Right
in
here.
between, yeah, that's pastel. But in between, it's watercolor.
Oh.
Because I did a watercolor underpainting, and then that's what I like, the way it was muted and fuzzy, so I left it.
Good. The trees are great too. And the way this tree really
Mm-hmm.
comes in front of the trees behind it, really good.
Yeah.
And this tree being a little more detailed than the ones behind it, that's really good too. So I just want to show you now what I thought needed to happen. So the first thing, and I wish it was on the same page, but I didn't want to take away from yours. I made this softer back here.
Okay,
So not that bright line, because I felt like it popped forward.
okay,
And then right here, I made this smaller.
okay.
So see, I couldn't
Yeah.
understand it.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I did is right here, I made that more out of focus. So well, I did it in Photoshop, obviously, but I dragged a little of the watercolor over it. I mean, the water's color over it, just not 100% opaque. I just softened it. Can't remember what this is. Let me look again.
Well, where your two,
What?
where the two bottom arrows are where it's watercolor.
I know, that's a problem because see what
Should I leave
happened.
it or cover it?
Well, right here, this is so on top. All of this
Okay.
is so on top. So you might be able to take your finger and blur this a little bit. I didn't realize this was all the watercolor. So what I did, oh shoot, I blurred it by dragging some of that color up on top
Okay.
so that this was behind. But and then back here too, I think. Yeah, just that they're a little too bright.
Okay,
So that's what I was thinking. But I think it's beautiful.
thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
Mhm.
After I softened that, I changed the top of this tree a little bit too and made it a little more definitive and made sure it really looked like it was in front of this after I worked on that. So I just changed it a little bit and using this as sort of my guide. I mean, obviously don't leave it like that, but I wanted to be sure this really was on top. So
Okay,
yeah, I think it's beautiful.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, this is the incredible Barb Walker,
That's unbelievable.
isn't it?
Wow.
Effing believable.
Those are both photos, right?
No, this is her
No.
painting.
OMG.
Exactly.
Whoa.
So I can see some things that are wrong with it.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
it's terrible.
Go ahead, spit them out.
The arch in the back on the top, that white is too white.
Yes, I agree with you. I
It
was about to
just
say
draws
that.
my eye right there. It
Yep.
just draws my eye right there. I don't,
And it looks like it's on top. Is it on top of the front arch or is it behind?
no, it's in back.
Okay.
Now it just jumped forward. It really is not right.
So I just think it's incredible. All of this is the only way I
Wow.
could tell which was which really was that the sun was in the one I knew was the real photograph. I think that this line is not, see if I put a straight line right across here, this is running at too steep an angle. And the only reason that's a problem is that it makes this look like this is not a flat surface. It makes it look like it's running downhill. So if you
Hmm.
see here, this is
Yep.
the straight line. So it's about half, oh shoot, half that, the half that angle.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I saw that as I was looking at it, once I took it away from when I stopped working on it. I thought, well, the sun's just in a different place in my painting, but it made it feel like it's running downhill. I can
Yeah,
fix that.
I know you can.
Could I ask you a question? This is Jane.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you get such detail out of your pastels?
Well, I worked on a bigger piece this time.
Uh-huh.
It's not 9 by 12, which is what I've been using. So that helps a lot. And I use the edges
Uh-huh.
sometimes.
How many
Or-
hours did you work
Other
on
than
it?
that, I don't.
How long did you work on it?
I worked on it. I probably worked on it I worked on it 2 days, probably
Wow.
4 hours.
Wow.
And she's using that same paper I'm using, I think.
Mhm.
So that helps because
I'm
it covers
using,
it quicker. Pastel Premier.
I mean, you've always been good, but this is fabulous.
Yeah.
It really is. And the way the
I
light,
have a problem now. I showed this to my teacher in Guatemala, my Spanish teacher, and she said, "Oh, I want that." And I'm thinking, no, I don't want to give it away.
Send her a JPEG.
yeah, send her a print. The way that the
Yeah,
front,
that's right. Well,
the
I
front
can't get it
leaves
to her
are-
now anyway. It would have to be.
Okay, Emily,
Pardon me?
speak. Speak, Emily.
I love the way the leaves that are hanging down in the front are just wispy. I mean, they're beautiful.
Oh, me
Yeah.
too. Yes.
Yeah.
All the foliage is so realistic.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
the
I'm
painting a lot
thinking
better
that-
than the photo.
Yes, that was too intense, the things coming down. Oh, stop. But I'm thinking that the ones that come down from the top on the right-hand side, I might take out.
These?
Why?
No, you don't have to
Yeah.
do that.
No,
But-
I like it. Yeah, but
Okay.
One thing I think you might want to do is this is so straight up and down.
mhm,
You could
mhm.
just take the dark
Yep,
here
it
and
is.
get rid of a few of those, and then this would not be such a straight up and
Yep.
down line.
Hmm.
Do you see that,
Yep.
Barb? Okay.
Sounds good.
This is incredible. I could not, I mean, like whatever
Thank
someone else
you.
said, I knew you were good, but this is incredible.
This is
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Okay.
There's
here's
still things I
Wow.
can see, all these things I have to work on, but
Don't wreck
thank you
it.
for adding more.
Yeah, don't wreck it.
Don't wreck it.
Yeah.
I won't.
Okay, here's another gorgeous painting.
I won't.
This is
Oh,
Molly's.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, I love this. What do
I
you
do
think, Molly?
too.
Or what does anyone else think?
I like the background.
I do too. I love the fact that the colors in the tulips and the colors in the background are just more muted, but sort of similar colors. I mean, I love the background. Little house and birch tree, and the tulips are beautiful too.
I like the corner of the painting on the wall also. I mean,
Mhm.
the angles of the table and the painting in the window.
Yeah,
One thing that, I mean, it's the first thing I see, but I don't know how to fix it, is it's odd that the table doesn't go to the corner. There's actually a corner that's sort of, corner of the room is behind the vase. but it doesn't make sense. When I tried to put in a line, you couldn't, there was a lot of, it's like the wall is clean, there's no molding, and then it just goes back into the window frame, and there's a lot of window frame stuff. But when I tried to paint it, put it in the picture, it looked like I was trying to make molding, and it just looked odd. So I didn't know how to solve it, so I just took it out.
That's
So
a good plan.
and
Yeah, I
Dale-
thought it was on an outside porch. Isn't that interesting? I had no trouble with, it's beautiful.
But it is out the window, right?
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
The only thing I would do is I would not make this line so strong.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I know you need something to be different between the sky and here. It's just that it just draws my eye, that strong line,
Mhm.
and I don't want to look at it, especially in here. Maybe if it was just a little softer in here,
Uh-huh.
maybe it's not so bad up here and somehow it doesn't bother me as much down there, but it's right in here. This is incredible, Molly. It really is.
Thanks.
This
Well,
and the last one you did, just amazing.
Can I say
Okay.
something else I really like about it is the way this picture and the house balance each other out with these angles.
Mhm.
It's really, really delicate.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about more realism or anything. I think it looks, and I don't know what I had said about this before. I can't remember anymore, but it looks really good now.
I changed
like
the
that.
angle.
Oh, you did?
I think what you said, it was angled down too much, and it seemed like when I drew it, that's what I saw. But when I changed it, you suggested straightening it a little bit. It did look, it made a lot more sense.
Good. Good
Yeah.
to know. Okay.
Her burden.
Oh, it is a burden, a blessing and a curse. Okay.
All set.
Good job, everybody.